Hello, this is a lo-fi outdoors video and I'm trying something a little different here. I'm going to show you how to make prickly pear fruit juice. And so I'm going to review the steps and the materials that you need to make prickly pear juice. So what I have here is a bowl of freshly harvested prickly pears from my yard. And of course I will remind you that if you harvest prickly pears, make sure to leave some on the plant, so that the animals can have something to eat and you don't want to take all of that nutrients out of the desert. I just used these tongs to pull them off of the plant. That worked pretty easily and I did not get any glochids in my fingers, so that was an effective method. And then there's all kinds of different methods for doing this online. This is the way that I learned and I've done before. I just use a juicer. This juicer will capture all of the spikes and the glochids. Glochids are those little hairs around the base of the spikes on the prickly pear fruit. This will capture the vast majority of those, and the ones that it doesn't completely capture, it'll grind up so that you're not going to drink glochids and end up with a scratchy throat. So of course you have to have a receptacle to catch the juice when it comes out of the juicer. And once it's done juicing, there'll be a little bit of film of material on top of the juice. We're going to take this spoon and use that to skim that material off the top of the juice. And I just have another bowl to put that refuse detritus material in right here. Once we have it skimmed and we have the juice without the majority of the kind of pulpy foam that it produces, then we're going to use this strainer here along with some cheesecloth. And we're going to strain it with the funnel and jar it. And then once you have all those steps completed, you put the prickly pear juice in your freezer and it is ready to go. So I'm going to get started here on juicing. I'm just going to clean up the stuff I'm not using right away and then we'll get going. Time to juice some prickly pear fruit. Of course, I'm going to use the tongs to handle the prickly pear fruit. And the game here is to not get glochids in your fingers. So here we go. I'm going to fire this up here in a second. I'm just going to load the hopper up with several fruits. Maybe one more little one there. Ready, set, go. That other bowl was not quite catching all the juice, so I've switched to a measuring cup. Okay, so that's the juicing process. And what I'm going to do is just dispose of the refuse here from the juicer. That's something you could put in a compost heap or whatever. And I'm going to give the juice here a few minutes to separate, let the foam kind of rise to the top so I can strain it off and get more of the good red juice on the bottom. And of course I will clean up my area because it's impossible to do this without getting a little bit of this bright fuchsia colored juice all around the area that you're working. So now that the prickly pear fruits have been juiced, what we're going to do is there's this froth on the top of the juice that's been collected. This has some seeds and some just other stuff in it that we don't need. And so I'm going to just take a regular old spoon and just start removing this stuff here and clearing it off. It's a little thick, like you wouldn't want to drink this. So it's got to go into this other bowl here for disposal. You can see the nice red juice below. That's what you want to save. It's going to get strained again through the cheesecloth, so it doesn't have to be perfect at this step. But whatever you get now saves you a lot of time when you strain it through the cheesecloth. Now you can see that's just a nice, bright red, beautiful juice. And I have tried to just strain all this foam through the cheesecloth, just, because it looks like there's some juice in it, but it clogs the cheesecloth, and then you can't really strain it very effectively after that. So this step really saves you a lot of time and makes your juice smoother in the end. The juice is really good to make smoothies. Last time we made a batch of this, I actually made ice cubes out of a bunch of the juice, and those ice cubes work really well. You just drop the ice cube in the smoothie and you have prickly pear juice in your smoothie, and it's nice and cold. Now that I have skimmed the juice, we're going to strain the juice. I'm just using a regular metal strainer. I'm putting a bit of cheesecloth in it just to get that extra little bit of straining power there. And then I'm gonna just take this and pour it right into this jar. And if there's any more solid stuff there, the cheesecloth will catch that, prevent it from getting into the jar. Nope. A little too enthusiastic there. All right, just finishing up the straining process here. As you can see, I have a different shirt on. Prickly pear juice does stain. That's something that there's no getting around. So I had to quickly rescue my masked Bob White shirt, and now I'm wearing my Fifth Brain Collective shirt. I'm just gonna finish this last step here, and then we'll be done. Okay, so here we have it. This is our prickly pear juice. This is the bounty of our labors. I ended up with 2 quarts and 1 cup of prickly pear juice. And I also made a little drink out of the prickly pear juice here. It's the juice, lemonade, a little sparkling water, and a couple of limes. And it's very refreshing. I will say prickly pear juice on its own is not particularly sweet. It looks like it's going to be sweet. It's red. You might think it's going to taste like Hawaiian punch or something like that, but it's not. It kind of has a little bit of a tepid, sort of neutral taste to it. So adding a little bit of sweetener, in this case lemonade, helps round out the flavor of the prickly pear juice. But it is actually delicious. If you don't care about your juice being very sweet, then you can drink it straight up, and it's very enjoyable. So if you have prickly pears in your yard or in your area, you can go and harvest some and follow this process. It works just fine. I'm sure there are other processes you can find here on YouTube where people do it different ways. This is the way I've done it. It's always been delicious and never made me ill. So I think it works just fine. Just make sure you pick prickly pear fruit in an area where they're clean and where the fruits are, healthy. Don't pick ones with big holes in them where mice or other animals have chewed into them. And make sure that they are deep, dark red. That's something I probably should have said at the beginning. But make sure they're deep, dark red. If you try this process, which I have done, when the fruits aren't completely ripe, you get very bitter, hard to drink juice. But when you wait till they're very deep, dark red, then you get this delicious prickly pear juice. So if you do this, I hope you enjoy it, and cheers.